All right, welcome to day 9, lab 1, static routing. So today in this tutorial, we'll discuss how we can do static routing to the given network diagram. I think we have already done this in the lecture, but for your reference, I'm going to do it again. Fortunately, in this question, we don't have to do any calculations because all the IP addresses are given, which means what we have to do is we have to identify how many networks we have, and we have to do proper configuration. Okay. All right. So before moving on, let's see how many networks we have. So in this case, we have a network in here. This is network. I'm going to say this is network 1, and this is network 2, and this is network 3. Okay. So what we have to do is we have to configure these networks and enable static routing. All right. So let's go to packet tracer. In this case, I'm going to use 1841 router, but you can move along with 1941 as well. That's up to you, but I'm going to use 1841 in this case. Okay, so I'm going to drag and drop 2 routers to the working area. All right, then I'm going to rename the routers. This is router A, and this one is router B. All right, and I'm going to use 2 switches. In this case, I'm going to use 2960. Okay. You can select whatever the switch you want, but in this case, I'm going to use 2960. Okay. Then I'm going to rename the switches in here. Okay. And I need 2 end devices, which means computers. And I'm going to use 2 computers as well. Okay. And I'm going to rename it as A and B. All right. So before moving on with the router configurations, what I'm going to do is I'm going to configure the computers, and I'm going to do the proper connections. Okay. So I'm going to connections, and I'm going to select copper straight through. Remember. So I'm going to select fast Ethernet 0. As you can see in the figure, I have connected the computer to fast Ethernet 02. So if you are doing configurations looking at a diagram, it's good practice to follow along with the diagram. So if the computer is connected to fast Ethernet 0/2, if you can actually connect to the same interface, that's better. Okay. So in this case, I'm going to follow along with the diagram. Because of that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the computer, and I'm going to click, and I'm going to select fast Ethernet 0/2, just as in the our tutorial. Okay. So I'm going to select this port, and from here, I'm going to select fast Ethernet 0/0, and I'm going to connect it to fast Ethernet 01. Okay. Then if you're connecting 2 routers, okay, if that's the case, remember you have to use either serial or copper crossover. So in this case, I'm going to use a crossover cable from here to here. All right. Then I'm going to select a copper. So in here, this is, remember this cable is crossover, okay? This is a crossover cable, okay? These are straight through cables. That's the difference between these dotted lines and solid lines, okay? Okay, then I'm going to select again straight through, and I'm going to click here, and I'm going to select fast Ethernet 01, and again from 02 to our computer. All right. So before moving on with the router configurations, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give IP addresses, subnets, and default gateways for the end devices, which means our PCA and PCB. Okay. So let's do those configurations, because otherwise we'll forget to do those things. Or then I'm going to IP configuration, and I'm going to give the IP. So in this case, the IP of PC is 10.10.0.5. As you can see in here, the interface of router in this side, it is 10.10.0.1/16. That means our subnet mask is 255.255.0.0. Okay. So I'm going to use that subnet mask. So in here, this should be 10.10.10.10.0.5, and subnet mask should be 255.255.0.0, and the default gateway should be the IP address of this interface. Okay. So which means I have to use 10.10.0.1. Okay. So I'm going to use 10.10.0.1. All right. We don't have a DNS server in this case, so I'm going to leave it here, and I'm going to close the window, and I'm going to move to PCB. In PCB, we have to do the same thing. I'm going to IP configurations, and I'm going to say type the IP 192.168 and should be 3.5. Okay. And the subnet mask is in here. You can see it's /24, which means 255.255.255.0. And you have to give the default gateway. So the default gateway should be the interface IP of this this interface. So it should be 192.168.3.1. Okay, so I'm going to close this one, and I'm going to type 192.168.3.1 and DNS server we don't have now. All right, so we have done the required IP addressing for PCA and PCB, which means we can move along with router configurations. Okay, so I'm going to close this window, and I'm going to select router A, and I'm going to CLI. In here, I'm going to select no, which means then. Then I'm going to type enable, then conf T, configure terminal. Then I'm going to select the interface in here, which means this interface, which means fast Ethernet 0/0. So I'm going to type interface fast Ethernet 0/0. Okay, I'm going to press enter. Now you can see I'm in the interface. Now this changed to IF, which means I'm inside the interface. So in here, I'm going to give that IP. So in this case, the IP address should be, you can see 10.10.0.1, and the subnet mask should be 255.255.0.0. So IP address 10.10.0.1, and my subnet mask is 255.255.0.0. I'm going to press enter. Then I have to make the link up. So I'm going to type no shut. Once I press enter, you'll see this red color symbol will become green. Okay, so I'm going to press enter now. All right, it's up. Now let's configure the fast Ethernet 0/1 as well in this router. So I'm going to exit from here, and I'm going to type interface fast Ethernet 0/1. Then IP address should be 172.172.16.10.10. So I'm going to type IP address 172.16.10.10, and the subnet mask is /24 in CIDR, which means 255.255.255.0. I'm going to press enter, and I'm going to type no shut. But still the link is down. As you can see, the color is not changed. Once we configure this interface, both these symbols will become green. So don't worry. Let's move to the other side. Okay. So I'm going to clear the board. Okay. Then let's move to the other side. All right. So in here, I'm going to do the same thing as we did before. I'm going to configure two interfaces for fast Ethernet 0/1, which means this one and this one. Okay, so I'm going to do the configurations, and you can follow along with me. So I'm going to type enable. Okay, I have done something wrong. Give me a second. So if this happened, what you have to do is you have to select, you have to press CTRL Shift and 6. Okay, so I'm going to type enable. Then in here, I'm going to type conf T, and first I'm going to configure fast Ethernet 0/1. So I'm going to type interface fast Ethernet 0/1, IP address 172.16.10.11, and my subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. And remember, you have to turn the link up, which means you have to type no shut. Now you'll see this both side will become green because this side is already configured. Now I'm configuring this side, which means both sides are configured. Now the link should be up. Okay, so I'm going to type no shut. As you can see, both sides are up now. All right, now we can move along with the fast Ethernet 0/0, which means the last interface we have to configure. So I'm going to exit from here, and I'm going to type interface fast Ethernet 0/0, and the IP address should be 192.168.3.1. So IP ADDR 192.168.3.1. and it is 255.255.255.0. All right. Don't forget to type no shut. Okay, cool. Now we have to do something else. If you try pinging from this computer to this computer, it will not be successful. So I'm going to do the thing. So let's see whether it will be successful or not. My command prompt. So I'm going to ping 192.168.3.5. So I'm getting a reply, but the thing is, I'm getting a reply from 10.10.0.0. And I'm getting something like destination host unreachable. That means we have the computer, but it is not reachable. Okay. So I'm getting that message from reply from 10.10.0.0, which means this interface, right? All right. Now we know the reason. I mean, in a router, we have two types of networks, right? We have directly connected networks and we have remote networks. So if I go to this router and if I type, I'm going to go back. Okay, not in the configuration mode. I'm going to exit and I'm going to type show IP route. Okay, as you can see in here, we have two networks with letter C. Letter C means directly connected. You can see the meaning of C, which means C means connected. Okay, we have two networks connected. What are the two networks? 10.10.0.0. You can see it's directly connected. And we have another one, 172.16.10.0. It is also directly connected. So as you can see, those two networks are this one and this one. So this router already know about two networks, which means this one and this one. But you know, when we start this tutorial, I mentioned that we have three networks. These red color circles as well as this blue color circle. Now this router A, does not know about this network, which means we have to statically define how to find this network in our diagram. So in our topology. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to define static routes. Okay, statically mention the route. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select router A and I'm going to go back to configuration mode. So I'm going to type conf t. And in here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to type the command IP route. Okay. So once you type this IP route, if you put a question mark in here, you can see what's the next thing you have to type in here. So the next thing is destination prefix, which means the destination network address. So the destination network is, so you can see the IP address is 192.168.3.1/24, which means these three octets are already reserved for the network. So if we make other octet or other bits 0, we can come up with the network address. So which means the network address of this segment is 192.168.3.0. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to type that network address in here. So IP route 192.168.3.0. I think you all remember we did the calculations for these things, right? When an IP is given, how to find the network address, how to find the broadcast address, how to find the previous address, how to find the next address, those things, right? So you have to have practice when it comes to those things. If you know those things, these things will be much more easier for you. Okay, so practice those smaller things, then you'll eventually get much more good and fluent in these things. All right, so I have mentioned the IP address. Let's see what's the next parameter we have to give. Destination prefix mask, which means we have to give the destination subnet mask. So it should be 255.255.255.0. As you can see, it is /24 in this side. Then what's the next thing we have to add? Then we have to add forwarding router's address. So in this case, we are configuring this router, which means our forwarding router is this one. So the interface is this one, fast Ethernet 0/1. So the IP address of that interface is 172.16.10.11. So what I have to do is I have to mention that interface. So I'm going to type 172.16.10.11. 172.16.10.11. That's all. That's all we have to do. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press enter. So what's the command? It's a very easy command. What you have to do is you have to type IP route, destination prefix, destination subnet mask, then the forwarding router's IP address. So in this case, this is the IP. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press enter. Now it is done. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and I'm going to check my IP route. So I'm going to type show IP route. show IP route. As you can see, now I have previously connected two networks. Other than that, I have one more. It is the statically defined IP. So in this case, we have mentioned it statically. Let's see what will happen when we are pinging a message from PCA to PCB. Okay. All right. So let's move to router B because we haven't configured that one yet. So I'm going to clear the board again and I'm going to go to router B. So what we have to do is we have to type IP route and do the config. So before doing that, I'm going to check routes in here as well. So show IP route. Same as before, we'll see two directly connected networks, 172.16.10.0 and 192.3.0, which means these two, which means it doesn't know about this one, the yellow colored one. We have to find the network address. So in this case, the network address is 10.10.0.0 because this is a /16 IP address. So what I have to do is I have to mention those things and we are good to go. All right, so I'm going to go back to configure the configuration, global configuration mode. So conf T, and I'm going to type IP route. And in here, first what? We have to type the destination prefix, which means 10.10.0.0, then the destination prefix subnet mask. So 255.255.0.0, then the forwarding router's interface IP. So in here, if we are configuring this router, our forwarding router is this one. So we have to use this interface. So in this case, I'm going to type 172.16.10.10. All right. So this is the command we have to use. Okay, I'm going to press enter and all the configurations are done. Okay. Now let's do the ping one more time. Let's see whether it's successful or not. If it is successful, that's the end of the tutorial. Okay. All right. So let's go to our PCA and I'm going to ping again 192.168.3.5. Okay, it's pinging. It might take time. You know why. And request timeout. The first one failed. Let's see the other ones. Let's wait a second. It's timeout again. Okay, now we are getting the reply. So I'm going to try it again. All right, it's pinging successfully. All right, we can see our loss is 0% and we have sent 4 packets, all 4 of them received without any issue. All right, let's do the same thing from other side. So from PCB, let's try to ping to PCA. So ping, so address of PCA is 10.10.0.5. So I'm going to type that in here. So 10.10.0.5. So in here, we'll not have any delay. It will definitely ping. All right, it's okay, all working very nicely. So that's all for the tutorial. I hope you guys got the point, learned something. And if you have any problems, you can contact me, or you can just post a comment or just contact me as well. So whatever. So if you have any problems, just let me know. I'll just clarify those things to you. So try this and have fun. All right, thank you.